Hello everyone and welcome back to another Babel-University.com video tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at creating our first exam using the Babel-U-Exams online test management system. Before we begin, I think it'll help to understand some key concepts used throughout the Babel-U-Exams test management system. So we're going to quickly review how we get from raw data in the database to a live test on your site. Each test in the Babel-U-Exams system is a composite object consisting of 4 key elements. These elements are the exam settings, sections, question pools, and questions. So in order to publish our first exam, we'll have to create at least one of each of these elements. Now that we've covered the key concepts, we're ready to move to the Babel-U-Exams administration area. You can find the link in the top menu under the Components tab. During this and other tutorials, we'll be using some terms to refer to specific parts of the user interface. So to avoid any confusion, I'd like to review those terms now. The terms we'll be using today are the top menu, the toolbar, and the sidebar. As you can see, we're already in the exam manager, so we'll go ahead and create our first exam settings record. To do this, we'll click the New button located in the toolbar. Now, since this tutorial was designed to give you a general overview of the exam creation process, we're not going to go into detail of each individual setting. For now, we're just going to do the bare minimum. So let's start by giving our exam a title. Publish it. We'll go down here and change the pass line. The pass line is a numerical value between 1 and 100 that represents the percentage required to pass the exam. And we'll go down and give it a description. All of the editors in our system have variables available to them, and these are a way to really customize the view without programming, which is really nice. I'll cover this in another video, but for now, we'll just set this up so it looks alright in the front end. The last step in this process is to save our exam settings to the database. To do this, we'll use the toolbar options. In this case, save and close, which will save the record and then bring us back to the list view. Now that we've created our exam settings record, we're ready to move on to the section manager. From this point forward, the process is very similar to creating our exam settings record. First, we'll click the New button, and then we'll fill out the form. First, we'll want to give the section a title, and then we'll assign it to the exam settings record we created earlier. Next, we'll assign a question pool. Now, in older versions of Babel-U-Exams, you had to create question pools first, but we went ahead and made it possible to create question pools directly from the section manager. Next thing we want to do is adjust the question count. The question count is the number of questions that will appear in the section. And we'll also adjust the max options here. The max options are a numerical value that determine the exact number of options available to multiple choice and multiple answer questions. We'll fill out the instructions. And that's the section setting. The last thing we want to do is create our questions. Because the process involved in creating questions is very similar to the steps we've already seen, and because I'll be creating a separate video to discuss questions in more detail, I'm going to create one question now, and then I'll use some movie magic to finish up the tutorial. As you can see, we're in the form, so the first thing we want to do is assign this question to the pool that we created earlier. And we'll go down and add a question text. The question text is the prompt that the examinee sees during the exam. Last but not least, we'll give it a correct answer and a few incorrect options, and we'll save it to the database. Okay, so I went ahead and created a couple questions so that you can see this on the front end. The last thing we want to do is add a menu item to our menus so that users can find our exam very easily. And that's it. You've now created your first exam using the Babel-U-Exams online test management system. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you'll come back for the next one, where we'll be looking at the new import-export features built into Babel-U-Exams 2.0.